Next weave on The Bold and the Beautiful. The drama explodes with no warning, no mercy, and no turning back as the long-anticipated DNA test results finally come in, setting off a cascade of revelations that threaten to tear families apart, alter relationships forever, and redefine what it means to belong in the ever-turbulent. The Forresters, Logans, and the rest of Leia's aristocracy. As the week begins, stress envelopes the Forrester estate like a thick cloud. Hope is pacing uncomfortably across Brooke's kitchen. Unable to eat or breathe, she clutches her phone as if it were the only hope of her sanity. The DNA findings, which might either stabilize or demolish their world, are expected any minute. And no one, particularly Carter or Daphne, is prepared for what is about to unfold. Meanwhile, Ridge is spotted wandering alone through the corridors of Forrester Creations, lost in contemplation, filled with remorse for the secrets he's hidden and the falsehoods he's said to protect people he cares about. He has known something for days, but has yet to tell Brooke about it. Depending on how they fall, the future DNA findings might be insignificant or completely devastating. Katie, the voice of reason, encourages him to tell Brooke everything before it's too late. But Ridge hesitates, frightened that the truth would ruin what? There is minimal trust between them. And in the middle of this tempest, Brooke is quietly recovering her authority, still suffering from the previous week's revelations, but steeling herself for whatever comes next. She senses something isn't right, particularly between Carter and Daphne. Her instincts warn her that the DNA test is going to reveal more than just biology. It will uncover treachery, duplicity, and maybe a familial tie that rewrites history. The lab email finally arrives as Carter and Daphne are in the middle of an aru at Il Giardino. Their voices are quiet but passionate as Daphne begs with him to accept their increasing closeness, while Carter attempts to create space by arguing it is too difficult. When Daphne's phone buzzes and she sees the lab's email notice, her face drained of color. "It's here," she says quietly, and the world pauses. They open it together. Silence, amazement, and an audible gasp from Daphne as she looks wide-eyed at the inescapable outcome. Carter and Daphne share a father. They're half-siblings. The truth Daphne sensed but prayed wasn't real is now unmistakable. They couldn't understand her developing infatuation, her pursuit of Carter, or the connection between them. Everything now bears the weight of a dreadful, irrevocable reality. Carter falls backwards in amazement. The paper trembles in his hands as he reads and rereads the exam, hoping there is an error. But it isn't. It is real. And when it becomes real, everything changes. Daphne bursts into tears, horrified not just by the reality, but also by the near miss. And Carter, stoic, proud Carter, is left distraught, disgusted by what may have occurred if the test had arrived any later. He calls Ridge first, and then Brooke. Within hours, the whole Logan Forrester circle is buzzing with the news, attempting to figure out how this could have occurred. Who's the father? How come no one knew? The solution arises slowly, like a monster from the shadows. Bill Spencer had a long-buried affair from years. A fling that never saw the light of day has been revived in the most terrible manner conceivable. Brooke is the first to notice the pattern, recalling discussions she overheard between Bill and an anonymous lady whom he previously referred to as a mistake. She confronts Bill, and he does not deny it. He reveals that he had a short but intense connection with Daphne's mother decades before. "I had no idea it resulted in a kid. Daphne's mother died early, thus the reality was hidden till now." Bill is surprised by the DNA test confirmation of fatherhood, and his response is more convoluted than anybody could have predicted. He's upset at having been excluded from Daphne's life for so long, but he's also terrified that his son Carter got so close to having a love connection with his house-sister without his knowledge. Brooke, upset yet determined, brings the family together. "We can't undo the past," she adds at a family gathering at the Forrester home. "However, we might choose to confront the future with honesty and grace." Hope holds her mother's hand, thankful for her resilience. However, not everyone is prepared to move ahead. Daphne locks herself in her room at the guest house, unable to face the others, overwhelmed by humiliation and bewilderment. She feels robbed of both a prospective relationship and a parent, delivered and snatched at the same time. Carter, meanwhile, becomes silent, focusing on his job and avoiding everyone, even Katie, who attempts to contact him but receives no answer. The emotional fallout is intense. Ridge, who has always prided himself on safeguarding his family, blames Bill for the whole predicament. "You play with people's lives like they're poker chips," he charges as Bill responds with his own remorse and sorrow. I didn't know. You think I'd let this happen if I knew? The encounter ends without resolution. Rich goes to Brooke for help, but she's already gone beyond finger-pointing and is focused on the future. She pushes Carter to take. Carter finally visits Daphne at the guest house, bringing her a box of his own childhood photos and telling her, "You missed the worst parts of me. Perhaps now you can see the best." The gesture breaks through her barriers, and she holds him fiercely. Brooke and Ridge are reunited for the first time in a long time, and Katie notices this and takes a step back, knowing that maybe, just maybe, it's time for Brooke and Rig to be together once more. While this doesn't solve everything, it does lay the groundwork for something real. Taylor returns to town just as the news of the DNA results breaks, and even though she missed the initial fallout, she arrives ready to support Steffi and Ridge. Taylor, unaware that Brooke is already playing that role, senses the shift immediately and is thrown by it, and her arrival shakes up the calm that had just begun to settle, and just like that, the triangle reignites, not over betrayal or infidelity, but over emotional territory. Ridge, torn yet again, finds himself at the center of two emotional women, both of whom represent different parts of his soul. And just when you think things can't get any more complicated, another piece of the DNA story emerges. Daphne's mother wasn't just anyone. She was once a model at Forrester Creations, a woman Ridge had briefly dated in his early 20s. That revelation sends Brooke into a tailspin. "Did you know Ridge?" she demands. Ridge swears he didn't, but Brooke retreats once more, questioning everything, and just like that, her emotional walls go back up. The penny party she escaped last week may be back for an encore. But even amid the chaos, there are glimmers of hope. Liam, who is still dealing with his health issues and emotional trauma, finds solace in helping Daphne settle into her new reality. He talks to her about growing up without a father, about learning who you are through struggle. Everyone, but especially Hope, who begins to wonder if Liam's heart is being pulled in yet another direction. Steffi, watching all this unfold from her perch at the Cliff House, wonders aloud to Finn whether any family in this town will ever be normal. Finn laughs, but they both know the answer. In the following episode, Daphne, who is still reeling from learning that Carter is her half-brother and Bill Spencer is her father, is confronted with an unexpected bombshell that threatens to derail every fragile reconciliation and newfound alliance that had been formed in the aftermath of the DNA results. Daphne's hands shake as she flips through more photos in the envelope, pictures of her mother and Ridge. She opens the door hesitantly, thinking it might be a letter from Carter or a gesture from Brooke or Katie, something meant to offer comfort. Instead, it's an old photo, grainy but unmistakable, of her mother standing beside a young Ridge Forrester, both laughing intimately with a handwritten caption on the back. Daphne rushes to Brooke's house, distraught, clutching the envelope in her hands like it's on fire. She gasps, and the world comes to a halt once more. Her mother is dressed in a gown, Ridge holds her hand, and a baby carrier is beside the bed. Her stomach drops as they return to each other. She glances at the images and quickly recognizes Ridge's younger self standing with a lady he had never mentioned before. "What is this, Ridge?" she demands later, shoving the envelope into his hands. Ridge stares at the photos with stunned silence and then utters the words that will shatter everything. "I think that baby might be mine." That's all it takes for the entire Forrester-Logan-Spencer ecosystem to implode once more. Suddenly, the DNA. Ridge, despite his flaws, has always cared deeply about his daughter Daphne. As rumors of a second, more advanced DNA test circulate, everyone begins to question their own memories, relationships, and truths. Katie, caught in the crossfire, tries to keep Bill grounded, but even he is starting to question everything. "I did the test. I believed it. But what if," he murmurs, pacing his office as Justin brings him a new set of legal documents related to Daphne's possible inheritance rights. Suddenly, more than just emotions are at stake. Power, money, legacy. The entire empire stands to shift depending on who Daphne truly is. Hope, caught in the middle of this paternal tug-of-war, begins to notice subtle shifts in Liam's behavior. He's spending more time around Daphne, comforting her, checking on her, and making himself available in ways he once only did for Hope. It's not romantic yet, but there's an emotional intimacy growing, and Hope can feel it pulling him away. And while she's trying to be the bigger person, she can't ignore the sting of watching Liam console another woman when she's the one who's Taylor walks in holding her phone, pale-faced and visibly shaken, just as Ridge is about to demand a new paternity test. "I got a call," she announces to the gathered family at Forrester Mansion. "From someone at the clinic, someone I trusted once." She hesitates. Daphne's mother. "She wasn't just a fling for Ridge. She was one of my patients." Guests fill the room. Taylor explains slowly and cautiously. Daphne's mother had come to her in emotional distress, suffering from postpartum anxiety years ago when she was still practicing. Taylor kept the sessions confidential, never suspecting Ridge could have been the man in question until now. Taylor says she wanted to protect the father, whoever he was, but now I think she wanted to protect Ridge. That admission sends Brooke into a tailspin and Rid. The last 5 minutes of the episode are pure fire. Daphne, overwhelmed and unable to breathe under the weight of not one but two potential fathers, runs out into the night. Carter, Bill, and Rich follow her. It's pouring rain, classic soap opera style, as they all converge at the garden terrace overlooking the beach. Bill accuses Ridge of taking everything, even his own daughter, to which Ridge responds, "You walked away from her mother, Bill. I may have been the one who stayed." Daphne sobs, begging them to stop crying out. "I don't care about the money or the name. I just want to know who I am." Then, almost poetically, Brooke steps into the storm, grabs Daphne by the shoulders, and says, "No matter who your father is, you're now part of this family. You don't need to select between them. Let them fight if necessary. However, you do not have to let it define you." Brooke delivers a moment of mother insight that silences everyone. And in that quiet, a fresh surge of energy emerges. Not all peace or conflict, but the quiet before a different type of tempest. Because in the teaser for the next episode, a new menace appears. A lady from Daphne's past appears and claims to be her mother's half-sister. She's also holding a third DNA test, one that could not destroy what little parts remain, but reveal an even larger mystery. Daphne's birth certificate might be completely false. Who paid to have it changed? Who engineered the decades-long silence? And why? As the walls shut in again, supporters can be certain of one thing. Nothing in Los Angeles remains buried for long. Next week on The Bold and the Beautiful, the tale takes a heartbreaking turn for Luna, who finds herself mentally spiraling over what she now feels may have occurred. Finn gave her false hope. After weeks of delicate exchanges, lingering looks, and very intimate chats, Luna had persuaded herself, maybe with good cause, that something deeper was developing between her and the excellent doctor. After her violent meeting with Steffi and the whirlwind repercussions from the truth about Poppy, Bill, and the fragmented DNA bombshell that was still resonating over Los Angeles, Luna felt that Finn was her mental anchor, her only source of calm in a sea of confusion. However, Luna's heart is beginning to crumble under the weight of what she feels as emotional betrayal. Because, as it turns out, Finn may not have been completely honest with her or himself. It began with a peaceful time in the hospital, a basic discussion about life, grief, and second chances. Finn had gazed at Luna with not just sympathy, but also a profound intensity that Luna mistook for love possibilities. He consoled her not as a casual acquaintance or distant family friend, but in a manner that seemed quite intimate. "I understand what it's like to feel like you don't belong," he informed her, brushing his fingers across hers in an unguarded moment. "But you do. You play an important role here. You matter to me." While those words may have been said in a time of comfort, Luna stored them away in her heart as a promise. Finn listened to her, supported her even in front of Steffi, and notably how he didn't flinch after the truth about the mints and the accidental night. With Zend, all of these behaviors led Luna to feel there was more between them than either would confess. But next week, everything changes. Luna intrudes on Finn and Steffi's private talk, during which he passionately tells his wife that there is nothing amorous between him and Luna. She's confused, that's all, Finn adds, unaware that Luna is within hearing. "She's gone through a lot, and I'm just trying to be there for her because I know how isolated it can seem. However, she's got the wrong idea, and I'll fix it." These words shatter Luna's world like glass on concrete. She stands stunned, blood draining from her cheeks, realizing that what she viewed as a developing relationship may have been nothing more than compassion, at least to Finn. The anguish is exacerbated by the fact that he did not come clean to her immediately. Instead of creating clear limits, he enabled intimacy to blossom, leaving her to pick up the emotional pieces. Heartbroken and, "Hey, Luna, Embarrassed, flees to the beach house where Poppy attempts to soothe her, but she isn't upset with Finn, at least not yet. She's upset with herself for thinking that anything else may happen. However, there is still a nagging uncertainty. Was Finn actually honest with Steffi, or was he merely attempting to safeguard his marriage by suppressing his emotions? Because the reality is, Finn has been exhibiting indications of emotional distress. When he's with Luna, his countenance softens, his body language shifts. He has a protective sense that transcends basic empathy. And although he hasn't broken any physical boundaries, their emotional bond has become indisputably strong. Steffi observed it as well, which contributed to her developing jealousy and suspicions. With Luna slipping away and creating emotional space between them, Finn is compelled to face his own emotions. Did he lead her on? Did he blur borders that should not have been crossed? As he muses on the recent conversations, the late-night phone calls, the shared confidences, and the way he defended her before Ridge and Steffi, he begins to wonder if he accidentally gave Luna hope. Worse, a little secret part of him refuses to let go of that connection. Meanwhile, inspired by Finn's words of confidence, Steffi starts to arrange a romantic reset for their marriage. A weekend away with just the two of them and no distractions. However, things do not go as planned since Finn is now experiencing the shame and load of his emotional dishonesty prevent him from completely enjoying the vacation. When Steffi presses him for answers, he finally admits, "I didn't mean to give her hope, but maybe I did. Maybe part of me did want to be closer to her." The confession is like a dagger to Steffi's heart, and she storms out, furious, hurt, and questioning everything. As word of the confrontation spreads, Luna becomes a lightning rod for gossip. Hope tries to reach out, but even she is unsure of where Luna's. Is Luna simply a young lady looking for consolation, or is she purposefully interfering with a married couple's relationship?